Commander Jake Morrison stood at the observation deck of Luna Station, watching the stars through the thick glass. He had been waiting for this moment his entire career. After decades of searching for alien life, they had finally found humanity. Or rather, the aliens had found them. The massive silver ship appeared without warning 3 days ago, broadcasting a message in perfect English across all frequencies. The message was simple but strange. "We have come to rescue the survivors of Earth." Jake frowned as he remembered those words. Survivors? What survivors? Earth was home to 8 billion people living normal, happy lives. There had been no disaster, no catastrophe that required rescue. Yet here they were, preparing to meet beings from another world who seemed to think humanity needed saving. The airlock hissed open, and Jake straightened his uniform. The first alien to step through was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and large black eyes. It wore what looked like a full environmental suit, complete with breathing apparatus and protective shields. "I am Ambassador Zekthara of the Galactic Council," the alien said through a translator device. "We have come as quickly as we could after detecting your distress signals." Jake blinked. "Distress signals? Ambassador, we haven't sent any distress signals. We're doing quite well, actually." The alien's head tilted in what might have been confusion. "But you are living on Earth. How can you be doing well?" "Earth is our home," Jake replied slowly. "We've lived there for thousands of years. It's a beautiful planet." Zekthara made a sound that the translator interpreted as shocked gasping. "Commander Morrison, I must ask you to be honest with us. Are you perhaps refugees who crashed on Earth? We understand that desperate people sometimes claim hostile worlds as home to avoid appearing weak." Jake's confusion deepened. "Hostile? Ambassador, I think there's been some misunderstanding. Earth isn't hostile. It's actually quite pleasant most of the time." The alien stepped backward, nearly bumping into 2 other members of its delegation. "Commander, please. We are here to help. We know that Earth is classified as a Class 12 Deathworld. No species in the galaxy has ever successfully colonized such a dangerous planet. Most die within hours of landing." "Class 12 Deathworld?" Jake repeated the word slowly. "I'm sorry, but I think your classification system might be wrong. Earth supports billions of people. We have cities, farms, schools, parks. Children play outside every day." Zekthara's translator made frantic beeping sounds as if it was struggling to process the words. "Children? You allow your young to be exposed to the surface conditions?" "Of course," Jake said. "Where else would they play?" The alien delegation huddled together, speaking in rapid whispers. Finally, Zekthara turned back to Jake. "Commander, we must discuss Earth's conditions. Perhaps you have forgotten how dangerous your world truly is." Jake gestured to a nearby chair. "Please, sit. Let's talk about this." The alien remained standing, apparently unable to trust the station's gravity. "Earth has liquid water covering most of its surface. Water is highly corrosive to most life forms. Your atmosphere is 21% oxygen, which is poisonous to 90% of known species. The gravity is crushing. And worst of all, your planet receives direct, unfiltered radiation from a yellow star." Jake stared at the alien. "Ambassador, water isn't corrosive to us. We drink it every day. We need it to survive, and oxygen isn't poisonous to us either. We breathe it." "You breathe oxygen?" Zekthara's voice rose several octaves. "Voluntarily?" "We have to breathe it," Jake explained patiently. "We can't survive without it." The alien made more gasping sounds. "And the gravity? How do you move under such crushing force?" Jake stood up and walked across the room, then did a few jumping jacks to demonstrate. "The gravity feels normal to us. We're used to it." Zekthara watched in apparent horror as Jake moved easily through what the alien clearly considered impossible conditions. "The radiation," the alien whispered. "How do you survive the radiation? You mean sunlight?" Jake asked. "We actually enjoy it. Many people spend time outdoors specifically to feel the sun on their skin. We call it sunbathing." "You deliberately expose yourselves to stellar radiation for pleasure?" Zekthara's translator was now making continuous alarm sounds. It's relaxing, Jake said with a smile. My wife loves to read books in the garden on sunny days. The alien delegation was now backing toward the airlock. Commander Morrison, we believe you may be suffering from some form of mental trauma caused by your prolonged exposure to the Deathworld conditions. We have medical facilities on our ship that can help you remember your true origins. Jake held up his hands peacefully. Ambassador, I appreciate your concern, but we really are fine. Earth is our home. We evolved there. We're adapted to live. They're evolved? Zekthara made a sound like choking. You claim to have naturally evolved on a Class 12 Deathworld? Yes, Jake said simply, over millions of years. The alien was now completely backed against the airlock door. Commander, this is impossible. No species has ever evolved on a world with such extreme conditions. The combination of corrosive water, poisonous atmosphere, crushing gravity, and unfiltered radiation would prevent any complex life from developing. Jake scratched his head. Well, somehow we managed it. Zekthara's breathing apparatus was working overtime. We must report this to the Galactic Council immediately. Commander Morrison, we offer you and your people sanctuary on any of a dozen safe worlds. Worlds with proper atmosphere, reasonable gravity, and protective barriers against stellar radiation. That's very kind, Jake said, but we're happy on Earth. It's home. The alien's large black eyes seemed to grow even larger. You refuse evacuation from a Class 12 Deathworld? We're not leaving Earth, Jake confirmed. But we'd love to establish diplomatic relations with your people. Maybe we could visit each other's worlds, share knowledge, trade goods? Zekthara was now frantically operating the airlock controls. Commander, we will inform the Galactic Council of your situation. Perhaps they can develop better rescue protocols for survivors of extreme Deathworld exposure. Ambassador, wait, Jake called out. But the alien was already rushing through the airlock with its delegation. As the airlock sealed shut, Jake watched through the observation window as the alien ship quickly moved away from Luna Station. He shook his head in bewilderment. First contact with an alien species? And they thought Earth was trying to kill humanity. Jake activated his communication device. Luna Station to Earth Command. First contact complete. Status report, the aliens think we're all crazy for living. On Earth, they've classified our home as the galaxy's most dangerous planet. The voice of General Patricia Adams crackled through the speaker. Did you explain that we're perfectly fine? I tried, Jake replied, still watching the alien ship disappear into space. I don't think they believed me. Ambassador Zekthara's ship traveled through hyperspace for 3 days before reaching the Galactic Council homeworld. The entire journey, Zekthara spent time reviewing the recordings from Luna Station, trying to make sense of what had happened. The human called Commander Morrison had seemed completely normal, talking and moving as if living on a Class 12 Deathworld was the most natural thing in the universe. Zekthara had seen many species in distress before, but none had ever claimed to be happy living in such impossible conditions. The council chamber was a massive dome filled with representatives from 12 different species. Each delegate sat in specially designed environmental pods that provided their species required atmosphere, gravity, and temperature. The chamber itself was kept at neutral conditions that would not immediately kill any of the member species. Zekthara approached the central speaking platform, still wearing the full environmental suit required for survival in the chamber's harsh, neutral atmosphere. The suit felt heavy and uncomfortable, but it was necessary to prevent the oxygen in the chamber from poisoning Zekthara's delicate respiratory system. Honored council members, Zekthara began, I have returned from the rescue mission to Earth with disturbing news. High Counselor Vexnari of the aquatic Delphini species floated in a tank of liquid methane, her translator crackling to life. Report, Ambassador. Were you able to evacuate the survivors? That is the problem, High Counselor. The humans claim they do not need rescue. They insist that Earth is their home and that they have lived there for thousands of years. The chamber filled with gasps and clicking sounds as the various species expressed their shock. Counselor Track of the silicon-based minerals, a being that looked like a walking mountain of crystals, spoke next. Impossible, Track's voice rumbled through the chamber. No organic life form can survive on a Class 12 death world. The humans must be using advanced technology to create safe living spaces. I thought so too, Zekthara replied. But the human commander showed no signs of using protective equipment. He moved freely in conditions that would kill most of us within minutes. Counselor Yathara of the plant-like Verdani swayed in her specialized light chamber. Perhaps they are not originally from Earth. They could be refugees who crash-landed and have forgotten their true origins. I suggested that, Zekthara said. But the human insisted they evolved on Earth. He claimed they have been there for millions of years. The chamber erupted in shocked chatter. The idea that any species could naturally evolve on such a hostile world was beyond the understanding of most council members. High Counselor Vexnari raised one of her tentacles for silence. Show us the recordings, Ambassador. We must see these impossible humans for ourselves. Zekthara activated the holographic display system. The first image showed Commander Morrison standing in Luna Station without any protective equipment. The human was breathing the station's atmosphere, which contained deadly levels of oxygen and moving normally under crushing gravity. Note the gravity readings. Zekthara pointed to the data scrolling beside the image. The human shows no signs of distress despite gravitational forces that would flatten most of our species. Counselor Track's crystals clinked together in what passed for laughter among his people. The human must be wearing some form of gravity compensation device. No natural organism could function under such conditions. Watch this, Zekthara said, playing the recording of Morrison walking across the room and performing jumping exercises. The human moves as if the gravity is completely normal to him. The council members watched in stunned silence as the human moved with ease through conditions that would require heavy mechanical assistance for most galactic species. This is clearly some form of advanced technology, Counselor Yathara insisted. The human must be using muscle enhancement systems or exoskeleton support. But look at the scans, Zekthara highlighted the medical readings. No artificial devices detected. The human appears to be operating purely on biological systems. Dr. Quindle, the Council's chief xenobiologist, spoke from the Scientific Observer section. May I suggest a different approach? Perhaps we should study these humans more carefully before drawing conclusions. High Counselor Vexnari considered this. What do you propose, Doctor? Send a research team to observe Earth from a safe distance. We need to understand how these humans actually survive on their world. If they truly have evolved there, it would be the most significant biological discovery in galactic history. Counselor. Track S crystals glowed brighter with excitement. A species that evolved on a Class 12 death world? Such beings would be incredibly dangerous. They could be the ultimate warriors. The humans seem peaceful, Zekthara noted. He invited us to establish diplomatic relations. That could be a trap, Counselor Yathara suggested. A warrior species would naturally use deception to lure enemies into a false sense of security. Dr. Quindle accessed the research database. According to our classifications, any species capable of surviving Class 12 conditions would possess physical capabilities far beyond any known life form. They would be stronger, faster, and more resilient than any creature in the galaxy. Then we must approach with extreme caution, High Counselor Vexnari decided. Dr. Quindle, you will lead a research mission to Earth, maintain maximum safe distance, and gather as much data as possible about these impossible humans. I will need the best xenobiologists in the galaxy, Dr. Quindle said, and our most advanced scanning equipment. You shall have whatever you need, the High Counselor assured him. But remember, if these humans are truly natural inhabitants of a Class 12 death world, they may be the most dangerous beings we have ever encountered. Zekthara reviewed the mission parameters. Should we attempt to contact them again? Not yet, High Counselor Vexnari replied. First, we must understand what we are dealing with. A species that considers a Class 12 Deathworld to be home is either lying, insane, or incredibly dangerous. We need to know which. The Council voted unanimously to approve the research mission. As the session ended, Zekthara couldn't shake the memory of Commander Morrison's friendly smile and casual manner. The human had seemed genuinely puzzled by their concerns about Earth's conditions. Either the humans were the galaxy's greatest actors, or they truly didn't understand how impossible their survival should be. Both possibilities worried Zekthara. EQULLY Dr. Quindle was already planning the research mission, selecting the finest scientific minds from across the galaxy. They would observe Earth from the safety of deep space and try to solve the mystery of the impossible humans. None of them realized they were about to witness things that would challenge everything they thought they knew about life in the universe. Dr. Quindle's research ship reached Earth's solar system 2 weeks after the Council meeting. The ship was the most advanced scientific vessel in the galaxy, equipped with sensors that could detect a single microbe from thousands of miles away. Yet as they approached Earth, every instrument screamed warnings about the deadly conditions ahead. "Are you certain this is the right planet?" asked Dr. Velteron, the mission's atmospheric specialist. Her 4 eyes were fixed on the scanner. Readings that showed impossible levels of what her people considered toxic gases. "The coordinates match perfectly," Dr. Quindle replied, though he was equally disturbed by the readings. "Look at that atmosphere. 21% oxygen, 78% nitrogen, and trace amounts of carbon dioxide. It's like a chemical weapon designed to kill everything that breathes." The research team consisted of the galaxy's finest scientists from 6 different species. Each one was now staring at their instruments in disbelief. Dr. Kexenal, a being that looked like a floating jellyfish, drifted closer to the main display. "The electromagnetic readings are off the charts," Kexenal reported. "That star is bombarding the planet with lethal radiation. No shields, no protective barriers. How does anything survive down there?" "Maybe nothing does," suggested Dr. Yarmouth, the team's geologist. "Maybe the humans are lying about living on the surface." Dr. Quindle adjusted the ship's sensors to maximum resolution. "Let's find out. Scanning for life signs on the surface?" The results appeared on the main screen, and every scientist in the room made sounds of shock in their own languages. The planet was covered with life. Not just simple microbes or basic plants, but complex organisms everywhere. Cities filled with movement, vast areas of green vegetation, and oceans teeming with creatures. "This is impossible," Dr. Velteron whispered. "The scanner shows millions of large life forms moving around on the surface, in the open air, without protection." Dr. Quindle zoomed in on one of the cities. The images showed creatures moving through the streets, apparently the humans they had heard about. But these humans were doing things that should have been impossible. "Look at this." Dr. Quindle pointed to a group of humans near what appeared to be a large body of the corrosive liquid water. "They're approaching the acid lake?" The scientists watched in horror as the humans began removing their outer coverings. Dr. Kexenal's translucent body turned pale blue with shock. "They're exposing their skin directly to the corrosive atmosphere," Kexenal said. "And now they're going into the acid water." The humans had jumped into the lake and were moving through the liquid as if it was perfectly safe. Some were floating on the surface, others were diving beneath it. Children were playing in the shallow areas while adults watched from the shore. "They're not dying," Dr. Yarmouth observed with amazement. "They're actually enjoying it." Dr. Quindle recorded everything while trying to understand what he was seeing. "Perhaps they have some form of chemical protection we can't detect, some kind of natural coating that neutralizes the acid." "Scan one of them," Dr. Velteron suggested. "Get a detailed biological reading." The sensors focused on a human male who was swimming in the lake. The readings showed a standard organic life form with no artificial enhancements or protective systems. The creature was breathing the toxic atmosphere and allowing the corrosive liquid to touch every part of its body. "The readings show no protective equipment," Dr. Quindle reported. The human appears to be completely natural. That's impossible, Dr. Kexenol insisted. No natural organism can survive direct contact with such concentrated acid. The team continued observing as more humans arrived at the lake. Some were carrying small humans, apparently their young, and placing them directly in the corrosive liquid. The young humans seemed to enjoy the experience, making sounds that the translators identified as laughter. They're poisoning their children, Dr. Yarmouth said in horror. What kind of species deliberately exposes their young to such danger? Maybe it's some kind of survival training, Dr. Velteran suggested. Perhaps they're conditioning their young to resist the planet's deadly conditions. Dr. Quindle shifted the sensors to observe other areas of the planet. Everywhere they looked, humans were doing things that should have killed them instantly. In one location, humans were running across the surface, while the deadly star poured radiation directly onto their exposed skin. Look at this group. Dr. Quindle highlighted an area where humans were engaged in what appeared to be combat training. They're deliberately colliding with each other at high speed. The scientists watched as humans threw a round object back and forth while running into each other with tremendous force. The impacts would have shattered the bones of most galactic species, but the humans simply got up and continued their activity. The force readings are incredible, Dr. Yarmouth reported. Those collisions would crush my people into powder. And they're doing it for fun, Dr. Velteran added, noting the sounds of enjoyment coming from the humans. They appear to be enjoying the violence. Dr. Kexenol drifted closer to the display. Could these humans be some kind of warrior species? Perhaps they've evolved to be living weapons. That would explain their resistance to the planet's conditions, Dr. Quindle mused. A species designed for warfare would need to be incredibly durable. The team observed humans engaging in dozens of different activities, each one more impossible than the last. They watched humans consume liquids that registered as poison on their scanners, carry objects that should have been too heavy for organic muscles to lift, and expose themselves to temperature extremes that would kill most life forms. We need to get closer, Dr. Quindle decided. These readings can't be accurate. There must be some explanation for what we're seeing. Closer? Dr. Velteran's 4 eyes widened in terror. To that death world? We'll maintain a safe distance, Dr. Quindle assured her. But we need better data. The Council will never believe these reports unless we can provide detailed proof. As the research ship moved closer to Earth, the sensors detected something even more disturbing. The humans had built structures that reached high into the toxic atmosphere, exposing themselves to even more radiation. Some humans were actually living in these tall buildings, apparently by choice. They're not just surviving, Dr. Kexenol observed. They're thriving. This species has turned the galaxy's most dangerous world into their home. Dr. Quindle began preparing a detailed report for the Council. Every piece of data they had collected suggested that humans were unlike any species in the galaxy. They seemed to be naturally adapted to conditions that would kill everything else. We need to observe their daily activities, Dr. Quindle announced. If these humans are truly natural inhabitants of this world, then everything we thought we knew about life in the universe is wrong. The research team settled into orbit around Earth, ready to document the impossible lives of the galaxy's strangest species. None of them realized they were about to witness even more shocking human behaviors. In the days ahead, Dr. Quindle decided to focus the research team's attention on what the humans called recreational activities. The alien scientists believed this would show them the gentler side of human nature, perhaps revealing safer behaviors that would make more sense to their understanding of life. They were completely wrong. I'm detecting a large gathering of humans in an enclosed area, Dr. Velteran reported, her 4 eyes studying the scanner readings. They appear to be engaged in some kind of group activity. The research team focused their sensors on what the humans call the football stadium. Thousands of humans had gathered to watch 2 groups of other humans engage in what the aliens could only describe as ritualized combat. Look at the protective equipment, Dr. Kexenol observed, drifting closer to the display. They're wearing minimal armor. This must be a ceremonial battle where they're not trying to kill each other. The game began, and the aliens watched in, growing horror as the humans repeatedly collided with tremendous force. The impacts registered on their instruments as forces that would instantly kill most galactic species. The human designated as quarterback just absorbed a collision that, measured at 12,000 impact units, Dr. Yarmouth reported, his rocky exterior turning pale with shock. That should have liquefied his internal organs. But the human simply stood up, shook his head, and continued playing. The aliens watched quarterback Ben Rogers take hit after hit, each one more devastating than the last. After each collision, he would get up and throw the ball to his teammates with perfect accuracy. He's not just surviving, Dr. Quindle whispered. He's performing complex motor functions immediately after impacts that would hospitalize our best warriors. The aliens documented each collision, trying to understand how the humans could withstand such punishment. Running back Tony Martinez broke through the defensive line, carrying 3 defenders on his back before being tackled by 5 more humans. The force of the tackle created a small crater in the ground. Did you see that? Dr. Velteran asked, replaying the footage. The human called Martinez was carrying the weight of 3 other humans while running at maximum speed. The strength requirements are impossible for organic muscle tissue. And the humans watching this are enjoying it, Dr. Kexenal added, noting. The cheering sounds from the crowd. They find this violence entertaining. Dr. Quindle was beginning to form a terrifying theory about human nature. Perhaps this is how they maintain their combat readiness. They engage in regular battle practice disguised as entertainment. The team continued observing as the football game grew more intense. They watched humans deliberately throw themselves into collisions, fighting for control of a small leather object. The aliens calculated that any one of these impacts would be fatal to their species, yet the humans seemed to consider it normal. I'm detecting more human gathering sites, Doctor, Yarmouth reported. Similar energy readings from multiple locations across the planet. The research team split their attention between different human sporting events. In one location, they observed humans on ice, using sticks to hit a small disc while simultaneously trying to knock each other down. In another, they watched humans punching each other in an enclosed ring while thousands of others watched and cheered. This is a full combat sport, Dr. Quindle said, watching mixed martial artist Carlos Silva grapple with his opponent. They're using techniques designed to cause maximum damage to each other. The aliens were amazed when Silva absorbed a punch that would have shattered the skull of any creature in the galaxy, then immediately counterattacked with a series of moves that demonstrated incredible speed and precision. The human's recovery time is instantaneous, Dr. Velteran observed. No known species can absorb that kind of punishment and continue fighting. But the most shocking discovery came when they observed extreme sports. Rock climber Maria Santos was scaling a cliff face without any safety equipment, using only her hands and feet to grip the rock. The aliens watched in terror as she climbed hundreds of feet above the ground with nothing but empty space below. She's deliberately putting herself in mortal danger, Dr. Kexenal said, his translucent body turning deep blue with stress. If she falls, she will die instantly. And she's doing it for pleasure, Dr. Yarmouth added, noting the readings that showed the human was enjoying the experience. This species actually seeks out deadly situations for entertainment. 3 of the alien observers required medical attention after watching Maria complete her climb. The stress of watching such reckless behavior had caused their systems to shut down in protective shock. We need to report this to the Council immediately, Dr. Quindle decided. These humans are not just surviving on a death world. They're actively seeking out additional dangers for fun. The research team prepared an emergency transmission to the Galactic Council. The message was simple but terrifying. The humans appeared to be a species that had evolved to enjoy violence and danger. They engaged in activities that would kill any other known life form, and they did it for entertainment. The implications are staggering, Dr. Quindle told his team. If these humans are truly peaceful, as they claimed, Then their concept of recreational activity is more dangerous than most species warfare. Dr. Velteran was reviewing footage of humans participating in rugby, a sport that involved 30 humans deliberately colliding with each other while fighting for control of an oval ball. Perhaps their claim of being peaceful is part of their strategy, she suggested. A species this dangerous would naturally want to appear harmless to potential enemies. But why would they reveal their true nature to us? Dr. Kexenol asked. If they're trying to deceive us, why let us observe their combat training? Dr. Quindle considered this question while watching humans participate in ice hockey, a sport that combined high-speed movement with deliberate collisions and combat with wooden sticks. Maybe they don't realize we're observing them, or maybe they want us to know how dangerous they are. The emergency transmission was sent to the Galactic Council with a priority alert. The message warned that humans appeared to be the most dangerous species ever encountered, capable of surviving conditions that would kill anything else, while engaging in recreational activities that resembled advanced military training. We need to observe their actual military forces, Dr. Quindle decided. If their recreational activities are this dangerous, their actual warriors must be beyond our comprehension. The research team prepared to investigate human military installations, completely unaware that they were about to discover that human soldiers were even more capable than the athletes they had been observing. The aliens were beginning to understand why Earth was classified as a Class 12 Deathworld. It wasn't just the planet's conditions that were deadly. The inhabitants had evolved to match their world's hostility, becoming creatures that considered extreme danger to be normal entertainment. None of them realized they were still only seeing the beginning of human capabilities. Ambassador Zekthara's ship approached Earth for the second time, but this visit was very different from the first. The Galactic Council had reviewed Dr. Quindle's reports and reached a terrifying conclusion. Humans were the most dangerous species. In the galaxy, disguised as peaceful explorers, the diplomatic vessel now carried a full military escort and enough firepower to level a small moon. Zekthara wore triple reinforced environmental protection and carried emergency evacuation devices in case the humans revealed their true hostile nature. Are you certain this is wise, Ambassador? Asked Captain Mordick, the military commander, assigned to protect the diplomatic mission. These humans have demonstrated capabilities beyond our understanding. The Council demands answers, Zekthara replied, though the ambassador was equally nervous about returning to face the impossible humans. We must determine if their peaceful claims are genuine or if they represent a threat to galactic security. The timing of their arrival could not have been worse. Hurricane Patricia was approaching the Gulf Coast of North America, and the alien sensors were detecting what they interpreted as a massive planetary assault. The storm system showed wind speeds that would tear apart most galactic structures, and precipitation levels that registered as a chemical weapons attack. The planet is under siege, Captain Mordick reported, studying the readings. Some kind of atmospheric warfare system is attacking the human settlements. Zekthara watched the storm approach the coast where millions of humans lived. We must offer assistance. Even if they are dangerous, we cannot allow an entire species to be destroyed by their planet's hostile environment. But as they observed the human response to the approaching hurricane, the aliens realized something was very wrong with their understanding of the situation. Instead of fleeing in terror or deploying massive defensive systems, most humans were simply continuing their normal activities. They're not evacuating, Captain Mordick said in amazement. The humans are staying in the path of this planetary assault weapon. The storm made landfall, and the aliens watched in horror as winds strong enough to destroy spacecraft tore through human cities. Buildings that should have been vaporized by the atmospheric attack remained standing, and humans were actually moving around outside during the assault. Look at that human, Zekthara pointed to a figure moving through the storm. Emergency responder Danny Cooper was wading through floodwaters that registered as highly corrosive acid to the alien sensors, carrying other humans to safety. He's walking through acid rain and winds that would tear apart our strongest warriors, Captain Mordick observed. And he's rescuing others while doing it. The aliens documented Danny's activities as he spent 18 hours moving through conditions that would kill most galactic species in minutes. He showed no signs of fatigue or distress, treating the deadly storm as merely an inconvenience that required careful navigation. "The humans' endurance readings are impossible," the ship's medical officer reported. "He should have collapsed from exhaustion hours ago." But Danny continued working, coordinating with other humans who were equally unaffected by conditions that the aliens considered a planetary-scale disaster. The rescue teams worked through the night, moving through toxic floodwaters and devastating winds as if they were dealing with minor weather. "Perhaps this is normal for their species," Zekthara suggested. "Maybe they've evolved to treat planetary disasters as routine challenges." The situation became even more confusing when the aliens observed human medical facilities during the storm. Dr. Carol Martinez was performing emergency surgery on storm victims while the hospital shook from winds that should have leveled the building. "She's conducting precision medical procedures during a planetary attack," the medical officer reported. "The steady-hand requirements are beyond our understanding." The aliens watched Dr. Martinez work for 12 hours straight, saving lives while the storm raged outside. Her hands never shook despite the building swaying in winds that would terrify most species. She treated injuries that would be fatal to most galactic life forms, and her patients recovered at rates the aliens considered miraculous. "Their healing capabilities are extraordinary," Zekthara noted. "Perhaps their medical technology is more advanced than we realized." But medical scans showed that Dr. Martinez was using only basic tools and natural medicines. The humans' rapid recovery rates appeared to be purely biological, another impossible adaptation to their deadly world. The most disturbing discovery came when they observed a human school that had been converted to a storm shelter. Teacher Amanda Foster was caring for dozens of young humans, keeping them calm and safe during what the aliens considered a world-ending catastrophe. "She's protecting their young during a planetary disaster," Captain Mordek said. "And the children aren't showing signs of panic." The young humans were actually playing games while the storm destroyed everything outside. They seemed to trust that the adult humans would keep them safe, even during conditions that would terrify adult members of most galactic species. "The psychological conditioning must begin very early," Zekthara theorized. "They train their young to remain calm during planetary attacks." As the storm passed and normal weather returned, the aliens expected to see massive destruction and loss of life. Instead, they watched humans emerge from their shelters and immediately begin repairing the damage. Construction crews worked to restore power and clear debris as if recovering from natural disasters was a routine part of human life. "They're rebuilding already," Captain Mordek observed. "Most species would take years to recover from such devastation." The aliens realized they needed to make direct contact with the humans again. The evidence was overwhelming that humanity possessed capabilities that made them either the galaxy's greatest threat or its most valuable allies. "Prepare for landing," Zekthara ordered. "We must speak with these impossible humans and determine their true intentions." The diplomatic mission approached Earth's surface, expecting to negotiate with what they now believed was the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The aliens had no idea that humans would be just as confused by the meeting as they were. Captain Mordek kept his weapons ready, convinced that humans who could survive planetary disasters and engage in deadly recreational combat must have military capabilities beyond imagination. He was prepared for anything except the truth, that humans were exactly what they appeared to be, peaceful people who happened to live on a world that had made them accidentally incredible. The landing coordinates was set for the United Nations headquarters in New York, where human leaders waited to meet with beings from another world. Neither species realized how much confusion and misunderstanding was about to unfold in their second attempt at diplomatic contact. The aliens descended toward Earth, carrying equipment designed to negotiate with what they believed was a species of living weapons, while the humans prepared to welcome visitors they hoped would become friends and allies in exploring the galaxy. The United Nations building in New York had never hosted a meeting quite like this one. Secretary General Patricia Adams sat at the head of a large conference table, surrounded by human experts from every field of science and diplomacy. Across from them, Ambassador Zakthara and the alien delegation sat in their full environmental suits, looking like they were preparing for warfare rather than peaceful discussion. "Welcome back to Earth, Ambassador Zakthara," Patricia said with a warm smile. "We're honored that you've returned for further talks." Zakthara's translator crackled with what sounded like nervous static. "Secretary General Adams, we must speak plainly. Our observations have led us to believe that your species may be far more dangerous than you initially claimed." Dr. Helen Brooks, the human anthropologist who had been excited about cultural exchange, leaned forward with confusion. "Dangerous? Ambassador, I'm not sure what you mean. We're a peaceful species." "Peaceful?" Captain Mordick spoke for the first time, his voice carrying the weight of military authority. "We have observed your people engaging in ritualized combat for entertainment. We have watched them survive planetary disasters that would destroy most civilizations. How do you explain these capabilities?" Patricia exchanged glances with her. "Advisors, I think there may be some misunderstanding. What specific activities are you referring to?" Zakthara activated a holographic display showing footage from the research mission. "Your people deliberately collide with each other at tremendous speeds, absorbing impacts that would kill our strongest warriors. They climb vertical surfaces, without protection, risking death for pleasure. They walk through acid storms and toxic floods as if such conditions were normal." Dr. Brooks watched the footage with growing understanding. "Ambassador, I think I see the problem. What you're calling ritualized combat is what we call sports. The climbing activity is recreation. And those aren't acid storms, that's just rain during a hurricane." "Just rain?" Zakthara's voice rose several octaves. "Your rain registers as corrosive acid on our instruments." "Because water is corrosive to your species," Dr. Brooks explained patiently. "But water is essential for our survival. We drink it, bathe in it, and swim in it for fun." The alien delegation made collective gasping sounds. Captain Mordick's equipment was beeping with what appeared to be medical alarms. "You consume acid for survival?" "It's not acid to us," Patricia said gently. "I think the problem is that our worlds are so different that what's normal for us seems impossible to you." Dr. Brooks stood up and walked to a water dispenser in the corner of the room. The aliens watched in horror as she filled a glass with clear liquid and drank it. "This is water. It's perfectly safe for humans." Zakthara's medical scanners were screaming warnings about chemical exposure, but Dr. Brooks showed no signs of distress. She had just consumed what the aliens considered deadly poison and was smiling at them. "Perhaps a demonstration would help," Patricia suggested. "We'd like you to meet someone who can show you that humans are exactly what we claim to be." The conference room doors opened and young astronaut pilot Sam Kelly walked in. He was wearing a simple flight suit and carried no protective equipment. The aliens immediately began backing away from what they perceived as a walking weapon of mass destruction. "Hello," Sam said cheerfully. "I understand you folks have some questions about human capabilities." "Stay back," Captain Mordick warned, reaching for what appeared to be a defensive device. "We know what your species is capable of." Sam looked confused but stopped walking. "I'm not sure what you mean. I'm just a pilot." "You survive on a Class 12 death world?" Zakthara said accusingly. "You engage in deadly combat sports. You walk through planetary disasters without protection." "Well, Earth is our home," Sam replied, "and I do play football on weekends." "Is that what you're worried about?" Patricia nodded to Sam, who began a series of simple demonstrations. He drank another glass of water while the aliens watched their instruments register lethal toxicity levels. He walked to the window and opened it, allowing Earth's poisonous atmosphere to enter the room while breathing normally. "The oxygen levels are increasing," Dr. Velteron reported from the research team. "He's deliberately exposing us to atmospheric poison." "It's just fresh air," Sam said, still confused by their reaction. "Would you like me to close the window?" The breakthrough came when Sam offered to demonstrate human physical capabilities. He did a series of push-ups, lifting his own body weight repeatedly in what the aliens considered crushing gravity. Then he jogged in place, showing no signs of distress from the atmospheric conditions. "Your biological readings are impossible," Zekthara said, staring at the medical scanners. "You're operating purely on organic systems in conditions that should liquefy your cellular structure." "That's because we evolved here," Dr. Brooks explained. "Over millions of years, our species adapted to Earth's conditions. What you consider deadly, we consider normal." The truth finally began to sink in. The aliens realized that humans weren't using advanced technology or hiding their true nature. They were simply the natural product of evolution on a world so hostile that surviving there had made them incredible by galactic standards. "You're not warriors disguised as peaceful explorers," Zekthara said slowly. "You're peaceful explorers who happen to be incredibly resilient." "Exactly," Patricia confirmed. "We'd love to join the galactic community and share knowledge with other species. We're explorers and scientists, not conquerors." Captain Mordick lowered his defensive equipment. "But your recreational activities, your survival capabilities during disasters, your physical strength, all normal for us," Sam said with a shrug. "I guess living on Earth just makes you tough without realizing it." The alien delegation spent the next several hours asking questions and observing human behavior. They watched humans eat foods that registered as toxic, perform physical feats that seemed impossible, and treat dangerous situations as routine challenges. Finally, Zekthara spoke on behalf of the Galactic Council. "Humanity, we offer you membership in the Galactic Council. However, we must request that Earth be designated as a restricted world for non-human visitors." "Restricted?" Patricia asked. "Your world would kill most of our species within minutes," Zekthara explained. "But we realize now that you would be invaluable allies. When the galaxy faces situations too dangerous for other species, we would like to call upon humanity for assistance." Patricia smiled. "We'd be honored to help. Humans have always been good at handling difficult situations." The aliens didn't realize she was making an understatement. As they prepared to return to the Galactic Council with news of humanity's acceptance, they were already planning to update their databases. Humans would be classified as paradoxically peaceful Deathworld survivors, the only species ever discovered that considered the galaxy's most dangerous world to be a comfortable home. The galaxy had found its emergency response team, a species that could go anywhere and survive anything while maintaining a cheerful, helpful attitude. The meeting ended with handshakes all around, though the aliens kept their protective equipment on during the contact. As they departed, Earth's children could be seen playing in nearby parks, engaging in activities that would terrify most galactic species while their parents watched with casual approval. The galaxy would never be the same. Now that they had discovered the impossible humans who called the ultimate Deathworld home,